Day 4 is here, and it is a big day because today is when you're going to unlock a lot of the quote-unquote beginning of the end game phase dungeons. So let's talk a little bit about it so you are not falling behind. First, what should you actually be doing between the little bit of a bump up until you unlock Niko Nana? Well, if all your shells and your GP outpost and all of that is farmed up, this is actually the only time I'm ever going to recommend this outside of 2x X event, and that is going to be farming investigation. That's because you really don't want to touch this, but luckily now is the first time where we actually have a little bit of excess stamina, and we actually have the max rarity of this unlocked, so we can get the full value of the rewards. Rewards aren't too bad, but they are a little bit low value, but you have to farm XP at some point because you need to be able to raise your character's levels, mostly when you're trying to expand your roster. The free amount that you've been given for this most part to focus into your main comp is only really enough to sufficiently bring them up. In order to raise a character, you would have to actually use them in a dungeon, but if they're too weak and dying in the later game dungeons, then up until we can start building 4-man teams for module fights, you're not really going to be able to make this happen. For now, you're really going to want to make a decision about farming investigation. I actually did this just to show you. I ended up raising a few characters here, like I also raised up a Ling Lo, I raised up my Rosa, even got her up to 6-star. I also raised characters like I brought Mio and all these characters up. So I'm definitely doing this as well. I invested about 500 and this is what I was able to get. Pretty good. Now, of course, I was able to build more characters because I have access to more of the shadow prints than you guys. If you are only pushing with XP and you're not actually buying the packs, you won't be able to have as much. And this is one of the reasons why I recommended buying the shadow prints in the arena shop previously in yesterday's video. Additionally, you can never go wrong with just farming your GP outpost. If you want to start building up towards that Ting or Victor that you really wanted to build, this would be the best time to do it because you again have a little bit of a lull period where you can make that happen. The big thing that's actually going to unlock is going to be your Niko Nana. That's because she gives the first set of mythic level shells that we get access to. Specifically, there's 3 that we really like here, which is White Fang, Artisan, and then Gigabyte. Alicorn is okay if you're struggling with the Bjorn fight and Annie Gecko. He can be kind of your cheat answer to get out of it. Just slap this onto like a Sonya or a Linglo, and it should allow you to sustain through the Krakens through them. The main goal is you're going to want to be starting to build up a White Fang, and the great thing about Niko Nana is that she also has the same shells as what you would get from Fabian in hard mode as the fallback. So just how there's always a downgrade below with stuff here like this little panda as well as the mermaid princess. For the lower rarity shells that you get access from Niko Nana, it ends up being your Twilight Knight and your Black Flag. This is one of the reasons why I didn't bother ascending them, because I'm going to get so much excess of these, and Twilight Knight is actually a really good shell that even some characters don't get full value from the White Fang, and it's a little bit better to have the Twilight Knight in certain setups like the Ramoka setup. My Ramoka will still be utilizing the Twilight Knight, so having 1 or even 2 Twilight Knights built still and now being able to ascend them to make sure that they're a little bit on par with at least a non-ascended version of the red shells is going to be pretty good. Mostly as I'm starting to expand my roster, not having shells means that those DPSs are not going to get that much value. Also, the cost to actually raise up the shells significantly increases. So you're not going to be able to just say, hey, okay, well, I'm just going to build a red shell, so why do I need these? Once you get to the point where you are able to build enough red shells that you can eventually sell your Twilight Knights, that is an option. The fight mechanic for Niko Nana is actually very simple. It's just a damage reduction that's based on the difference between her speed and the character speed. So you're going to want to bring a speed up character and a speed down character. I would be using Marvel because he has a really nice speed down and he can also do some pushback manipulation. And on top of that, I'm personally going to be bringing Suki Mi because she is really good. She's a team-wide attack buff and speed up. It's just the best combo. And then from there, you could just bring 2 DPSs like Leanne. Rosa absolutely destroys this boss fight, so I would actually recommend building her because she's a really good character to build, mostly for Aurora later if you happen to have her. I'll probably end up just using Leanne and Rosa though, even though I have Heinrich, who is also really good here because he can stop her from applying up her speed buff. But yeah, I think just having pure DPS and speed running it is going to be a little bit of a better option for me personally. This is also where you're going to unlock your Hell mode for Terramaton as well as Doki Doki, and these are really nice because you get access to a couple of things. First, as soon as you're able to start farming Hell 3 or higher, specifically Hell 4 is where it's going to be best to farm, you're going to get access to a couple of things. The first thing is this is the first time you can get a 3-piece combination. This is really powerful as this is going to allow you to set up some really good late game gear. Any gear that you get dropped from here is going to most likely be used in your late game builds, even after we unlock Inferno, because the only thing that Inferno is really adding is 1, higher chance to drop those 3-piece sets, and also these really powerful Ether module sets here that have 6 pieces, which are so powerful you can only have 1 per character. Additionally, you get access to a new set for each one of these dungeons, and in case of Terramaton, it gives you access to the really powerful Keen Eye set. This is really good on burst carries Doki Doki also gets you access to the time weave set, which is really, really nice. So you can see here we don't have access to time weave yet, but now we do. And time weave is a very, very powerful set. It gives you a little bit of extra accuracy, which is nice, but its 12 is really good on any sort of bruisery type supports, because every time you start a turn, there's a 35% chance to reduce the CD of all the Animus's skill cooldowns by a turn, which is really powerful, mostly when you get into a little bit of the mid game and you are able to start farming Sharon for these, because you can also get access to Halloween, who has another chance to proc it. So this is a really, really good combination that you can do. Unfortunately, we won't be able to unlock Aurora Hell. She unlocks at level 40, which will be the following day. So just keep that in mind. You won't have to deal with too much bulwark sets, at least for another day or two if you're using that for PvP. The last thing I need to mention is I need to actually talk about where I messed up. I'm only human, so I'm sorry. I'm going to have to update the spreadsheet for Hell specifically. But hey, I'm going to have to make some videos on the clear teams anyway, so I guess it's a blessing in disguise. There was a update to Termaton and Aurora, which have a new effect here where starting in Hell, the turn meter reduction effects are reduced by 30%, and this goes up to 60% in the Inferno mode. So you won't be able to use characters like Marvel as much, and even characters like Leanne are a little bit weaker. But don't worry, there is a really good replacement. So if you don't want to build Marvel now, or instead you can only just build his S3 and just use him for Niko Nana, still pretty good there. You can instead use those 4 extra resources that you farmed, so feel free to reset your Marvel, still raise this up to level 4 and use him. But instead you can build Valerian. She's a really, really good one-to-one, because again, if you messed up like me, and I'm going to do this, is reset the Marvel and then still build him up for his S3, but I would actually build Valerian's S3 instead and build her up, because she's actually pretty decent, even if you don't want to scale her up beyond 4, though I still would recommend it because she does get a lot of base HP. And what you can do is she'll be able to use her S3. It's a get out of jail free card, because the first time they die, instead they just get healed. And this can also equal out her HP. So she's very easy to build. Just make her go last in your team, build her on all those HP sets that you get from Termaton. Super, super tanky, like 30, 40k HP and onward. And then they'll just die, or instead of dying, she'll actually save them. And then you'll be able to even out their HP when she casts the deep sleep again when she takes a turn. And once you get Codex, she will be able to do that again, which is really powerful. So she's the type of character that scales really well starting now, very specifically. She was kind of like okay earlier, which is why I would recommend her in like accounts that are really specifically designed around like Giada, for example. But now this is the time where if you're trying to speedrun comps with like Leanne and just a lot of damage, she is going to be a really, really powerful key character for those type of compositions. So don't sleep on Valerian, pun intended, for deep sleep. And yeah, just keep that in mind. And don't worry, I will be updating the spreadsheet to reflect those changes, because I think it's actually a pretty easy fix for the most part. And if you haven't already built your Marvel, save yourself the reset and instead build it correct the first time, unlike me. Sorry about that. So that's everything that you need to know going into this next day. We're getting really close to where we're going to start farming stuff, and you're going to have to make more decisions on your own that I can't really guide you through. But don't worry, as we enter these later stages with Hell mode, and we also are able to start farming these really powerful mythic shells, I'll start to make more specific guides on different types of teams that you can try building based on what you have in your box to clear this content the best and most efficient way. So hopefully you guys enjoyed, and I'll see y'all next time.